pretty soon it becomes, you know, a part of what you naturally access day to day. Right? It's like when you see your, are you married?
Yeah.
When you see
That's how many times.
so when you see your wife, you don't have to think about who she is, right? Because you think about her so often and you thought about it for so long that, you know, there's like a rope for a connection in there.
In most
Okay?
cases.
So, but if you see, like, do you know her? But you've seen her, right?
No.
If you see her tomorrow, you probably remember who she is. You go, oh, that was the lady that was sitting at my table.
Yeah.
Okay? If you see her a month from now, you go, she looks familiar. You keep going. If you see her 3 years from now, you know, so that we've laid down the cellular connections now, but they're not going to stay there because they're not going to be, you know, they're not solidified. See the difference there?
Yep, got it.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's get a piece of paper out, please. Just use the back of your things. And look at this boy with the blue shirt. Okay? Now he's in a classroom. He's in a 3rd grade classroom. So he's like 8 or 9 years old. And he's sitting there. And I want you to write down for a full minute how many, all of the stimuli that he might be receiving. Everything that he's seeing, that he's hearing, everything that he feels, you know, with his nerve cells, okay? And also think about what he feels with his internal nerve cells. What might he feel inside? Maybe he's smelling something, okay? He may even be tasting something. So all of you write down everything that you think he's receiving, and I'll give you a minute. Then we're going to share out, so go. It gets better.
I need to take out a pen.
Oh, I got a pen. Here you go. Okay. It's a great pen, by the way. It writes really well. No, it does. Try it. Let's start with the bottom. What might he be tasting?
He could have gum in his mouth.
He could have gum in his mouth. Okay. Or if he doesn't, maybe his mouth feels kind of sour from lunch he had earlier, or the cup of coffee he had on the way to work. Okay. What might he be smelling? Just you don't have to raise your hand.
Sharpened pencils.
The wood from a sharpened pencil.
Paints.
Paint. Her.
Shoes and
The
socks.
shoes and socks. Okay. So the paint and just the room, the air in the room. Okay. What might he feel tactily?
Table.
The table.
Copies, books.
The
Might
books.
be feeling stiff.
Okay.
He might be feeling
His own
stiff.
hair. Maybe his skin itches. He might be hungry because it's almost lunchtime, or he didn't have a good breakfast. Maybe he feels the shirt.
Maybe he feels stiff because he doesn't like the arrangement of the class.
Yeah. And if you look, he's actually touching the girl next to him, so you might feel her elbow. Okay. What does he hear? The what?
Teacher.
Hopefully, the teacher.
His friends, somebody else talking.
Uh-huh.
Everybody.
This guy over here might be whispering to her.
Yeah.
She might be saying something to herself, and he hears that. Okay.
Sound of the pencil and writing.
Sound
Uh-huh.
of table, like
His
if
shoes
the
might
table
be
moves,
squeaking or something.
or the chair, if somebody's moving the chair.
Uh-huh.
So
And there's a
the
computer back there. There's probably
the
an air
fan,
conditioner.
probably the
The fan.
Air conditioning.
Yeah. So
Or
there's a
the
lot of
teacher.
teacher opening the cupboard.
somebody out in the
Or somebody
hallway.
else.
Okay. So there's a lot of that. What's he seeing? What does he see?
His friends.
Friends.
Classroom.
The stuff on the wall. Hopefully the
Clock.
teacher.
Yeah.
Maybe his
Yeah.
books and stuff. That kid that's writing on the other side of the table.
Well-lit room.
Yeah. Okay. So all of this sensory memory, all this stimuli, is coming into his poor brain. You know, all this stuff. He's just being bombarded, just like we all are all the time, except when we're sleeping. Okay. So how can he possibly pay attention to all that stuff?
Through what you said earlier, then we pick up on one thing to focus on.
Yeah. So he has the ability. He's learning the ability actually to do that. Okay. So one of the things I tried to say this morning at that panel discussion is that we need to be very respectful for the fact that children, you know, they're growing and they're still learning, and you know, we can't be angry at a child who hears that girl instead of us when we're trying to teach them. Okay, this is not something, that's something they're learning how to do in school. But the fact of the matter is he absolutely can't pay attention to all that stuff. Nobody could, but he doesn't really have to, okay? And we're gonna look at right now at a functional model of the brain, and by functional, I mean there's no structure in your brain that corresponds to each one of these boxes, okay? But this is just basically a flow chart, a schematic to show you how the brain actually works, okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Suppose the child has that ability of doing all these things, like at the same time he's listening, he's doing all the things together. Is it good or is it bad?
That he could listen, well, that he would have to simultaneously be able to listen to.
He's listening, he's speaking, he's feeling.
Well, try this. Try listening to that conversation and that machine at the same time. Watch what happens. You're going back and forth, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you,
But some smart children, or the active ones, or the smart ones, you know, they
you seem smart.
They can deal two things at a time.
They're actually not doing two things at the same time. They're actually doing them consecutively, not simultaneously. Simultaneously is actually doing two things at the same time. Okay. It's like when I was talking.
Diversion.
I'm sorry.
So they are getting distracted, and there's a diversion, like one minute over here and 1 minute over there.
Yeah.
They're getting distracted.
Exactly.
So then it's bad. It shouldn't be that.
It's well, it's normally. I mean, we have the ability to do that. We're able to actually, like for example, when I come home after work, you know, I might be watching television, and my wife will be talking at the same time. And I've tried, but I really can't do both. I get in trouble if I try that. So what I'm doing is you're just making those synapses stronger. Okay. You can use novelty, intensity, and motion, but sparingly. You don't want to frighten your students. And also, you don't want to exhaust yourself.
But you do use these from time to time. I mean,
That's-
movement is
Yeah.
essential to a classroom. Novelty would be really good. Why not?
Yeah. I just found out recently that they've done studies on teacher movement, and they've actually found that kids learn better if the teachers hold still. I used to think that's, you go like this? Did you read that same thing? If you're going around like this all the time, it's kind of distracting, you know, if you're always moving around. But if you kind of hold still and you say the same thing, they're going to focus on what?
Yes.
What you
Teachers
say.
are supposed to
What you
move
say.
around.
I think that it depends on the age of their children.
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you're talking of P1 to P2, then I guess you better give them activities in the classroom.
Exactly. And I'm just talking about the teacher, when the teacher is saying something, okay? If I've got something to tell you, which I do right now, so I'm not going to be moving around too much because I want you to focus on that. Now, obviously, in this classroom, it looks like there's a teacher that's talking to the students right now. So she's probably better off just holding still while she's doing that. Now, if she's smart, she's not going to say too much because what we just talked about, the kids need to rehearse and process and make meaning out of what she says. She talks for 30 minutes. They're only going to remember the last 5. You know, the first 25 minutes was a waste of her time and theirs. Okay? So while you're saying something, hold still. But then when the kids are doing it, then you want to walk around and make sure that you're checking in on them. Okay. Speaking of which, at your tables, process this. Pretend that a teacher, pretend that your neighbor or somebody your teacher has talked about, complained that his or her students never pay attention. Okay? So what's your response? And then also, if you have time, discuss the role that emotion plays in attention and learning. I'll give you about 4 minutes this time to process this.
Student doesn't pay attention. You try to know why your student is not interested. You relate your lesson.
I've had,
They don't pay attention.
I've had that you're a teacher and I'm a teacher and I said, oh, my children never pay attention. So what will your reaction be? As will you actually be doing? What will you say? What's wrong? What's been wrong in my class?
But he's paying attention. You're not, maybe you're not giving the child properly.
Too busy. Too many things in there.
But see, they're always paying attention.
Which is something. It's to you. So you need to carve out what is important.
That is another part.
What
There's a-
But they haven't
It's a
really
nice pen, isn't
it?
Doesn't it write nicely?
And I haven't been like paying attention to what happened.
Long day?
Huh?
Sleeping?
A long week.
Yeah. What do you do? You're in Germany now?
No, I'm based in Dubai.
Oh, what do you do there? You work in a university?
Sorry?
Are you in a university there?
No.
About language.
No, we're an investment firm. I'm on the board of Beaconhouse.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you're here.
We're shareholders, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Yeah. So you would know them.
Did you finish your discussion? You did? Are you guys finished? All right. So we talked about stimuli coming in, the sensory memory, most of it decays, okay? Metacognition, our mind's ability to kind of monitor our own thinking. Basically, we pay attention, we perceive certain things, and every once in a while things get into the working memory. That's kind of where you're at right now, okay? And that's your consciousness. That's actually what you're thinking about right now, okay? And it's the interaction between what's coming in and what you've already known. And that's why that's the part that's probably the most critical for us as teachers, okay, is to make sure that what's coming in has some kind of relevance to what's already there.